I'm singing my heart out to you, baby. Baby. Listen. To settle down. Hi, everybody. Get in here, get in here, get in here. We're going to talk about why do children feel so entitled to everything? A lot of children feel like you're supposed to give them everything while they don't even do the basics of what's required of them or what's asked of them. Sometimes us as parents that came up with really nothing, we tend to overcompensate with our children. So we give because we want them to have the things that we did not have, not realizing that we are creating ungrateful adults. Unconsciously, in your mind, you're just, making sure that your children never feel the hurt that you feel or the lack that you feel that you felt coming up. But like I said, it turns out to be something that you've done to your detriment. It turns out to be the worst decision that you've ever made. I was looking at this story here about a 10-year-old boy kills his mother because he was angry she wouldn't buy him a VR headset. So I can imagine, just in my mind, not knowing them, in my opinion, I would think she probably was a mom that everything he asked for, she gave him. Anytime he wanted something, she gave it to him. She provided it to him. So he started to feel entitled. Like she couldn't say no. Like, what's no? If I want it, you're supposed to get it. That type of entitlement. And unfortunately, in this situation, I think she may have said no. I'm not going to even comment on why it happened, because God knows there's not one thing in this world I could think of that would cause that to happen. A 10-year-old to be that, that, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to use the wrong word because it is a 10-year-old child, but that mixed up, that you would think that your mother's life, that a VR set is more valuable to you than your mother's life. I can't really wrap my head around that. I don't know where we could actually make that make sense. It's just no way. It's just in no way, no how we can make that make sense. But that's just like my children, like my older children. I've always been one of those mothers too that try to overcompensate, because coming up, me and my brothers didn't have the best of anything. Because a lot of times children will have new shoes and clothes and stuff like that. And, we didn't have it. We didn't have it like the other kids had it. So with my children, I overcompensate. Everything they want, I get it. And although it's so many of them, it's still everybody want to wear Jordans. Everybody want to wear, polo, what they want to wear. They don't care that if I can really afford it or not. They just want it when they want it. And me, because I've subconsciously programmed myself that way, again, trying to not be like my mom, and not until now realizing that trying to overcompensate, again, not trying to be like her, working so hard to not be like her, I've kind of created, I ain't gonna say monsters, but I've created some ungrateful children. Okay? Because when I'm saying yes, everybody happy. Everybody run through here, joy. But when I say no, oh, you would think I done did something awful. I'm the worst mama in the world. You know, they're not humble enough for me. And I always tell them, like, y'all need to humble yourselves, because at the end of the day, y'all should be grateful. Even the fact that it's so many of y'all that y'all don't have to beg, borrow, steal anything. You know, y'all don't understand the life that y'all have and the things that y'all are able to get. A lot of children are not, you know, are not in the situation to get. But also, I want y'all to understand that materialistic stuff is just that. Don't value yourself based off of materialistic stuff. Because when you leave here, you can't take none of that stuff with you. And none of that stuff adds any value to your life, period. It's just fashion. And your character is going to take you way further than your fashion will. So I constantly have to drill that in their head. Like, it's okay to not have. Because when you really think about Jordan, I remember a statement that he made about he didn't make his shoes for basically his own people. They were not ever made for us. But you hear that, and the kids, they've got so accustomed to it. So me as the adult, like, oh, I don't want to spend my money on that no more. But them as children, they've become accustomed to it, so they want them. But I told them, child, as y'all got older, baby, them shoes going up from when y'all was little babies, honey. The older children, there's $216 a piece. And let it not be no 11s or something. You looking at you trying to go into almost 250, and you know my 11-year-olds, hers like 164, and then the baby's hers 80. You know, so I'm like, wait a minute. You know, at some point, you know, we're gonna have to step back here and understand that we just continuing to make them rich. And y'all actually lose interest in the shoes because Jordans drop so often that y'all always want the newest pair that come out. So it's just like really throwing money up in the air and walking away from it. And then the crazy thing about it is my 16 and 17-year-olds, they have jobs now. And they'll buy everything in this world but a pair of Jordans. You understand? They have their little checks be enough to spend that $225, that $250. They little checks be enough, but see, they won't spend their money on it. And that's the stuff that I'm starting to realize now. Okay, so y'all won't spend y'all money on it, but y'all will happily spend mine. So it's like, you know, the value of your money, but not the value of my money. So again, this is where entitlement comes in. Like I told them, as your mother, I'm supposed to make sure you keep a shelter. I'm supposed to pour into you. I nurture you. I make sure you have clothes and shoes. And it never said what kind of clothes and shoes. As long as you had clothes on your back, food in your belly, shoes on your feet. It never said they had to be name brand. So please understand. You know, it's a new day around here, baby. When I need some of that money back that I done gave. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they just very entitled. But this little boy just really, really, I'm just like, ugh. And it made me look back on my own situation. Like, we give these children, and these days we don't really make them work for anything anymore. You know, back in my days, if you wanted something, you did chores, you went out here and did yards, you did something to earn money to get what you wanted. It wasn't just given to you, like those extra things. Like your basic needs were met, but you didn't get that extravagant stuff. You worked hard for that. It gave you a reason to work hard towards something, to be rewarded, you know, the extravagant stuff that you want. And you know, that is something else I wish I would have incorporated in my parenting of my children, which I still have two little ones, that's 11 and 2, that I was just talking to my 11-year-old before I went live about something she asked me for. And I said, well, you know, you got to do your chores. Oh, Mom, don't start with that again. I said what I said, honey. You don't do the chores, you don't get it, baby. So she is just not adapting. She's not adapting well to this. Like, woman, I ain't never had to go through all this before. I don't know what kind of change of life you're going through. The girl had the nurse to tell me I'm going through the change of life, y'all. Baby, the change of life? What we ain't gonna do is that, darling. We ain't finna do that. We ain't finna put me there now. I'm just waking up, honey. And that's good for me and it's bad for y'all. Because, baby, that strength and that power that y'all had over, because they know how to play me against me. You know, they look at me with them big old eyes and, you know, I cry and look sad. I'm that parent. I don't know. Because I had a rough upbringing. Me and my mom relationship wasn't the best. So unfortunately, it actually also traumatized the way that I raised my children. I tried to make sure I did everything opposite of what I grew up in. It even spare the rod, spoil the child. I spared that raw, baby, because honey, I should have not spared it sometimes, baby. But I did because I know how me and my brothers used to feel sitting in the closet when her day was bad. And her husband is upset her nerves. And we know that she's coming in with attitude, so we going to hide in the closet because we already know what's going to happen when she get a hold to us. For something that we didn't do, had nothing to do with. You know, we know any wrong move will cause us to get toe up. So I always said when I get older, I never forget those conversations in the closet with my brothers. When I get older, I'm never going to beat my children. I'm never going to hit on my children. And I always said that, and I manifested that in my mind. Now I'm not going to say at some point during their life they haven't got spankings, but as far as really discipline, like sometimes they may have needed. Nah, I haven't. And I'm going to say, you know, but now that they getting older, and like I said, they still do that. One of my sons 22 and he still do that. He know he can look at me a certain kind of way or just make me know that I've hurt his feelings or just look at me sad. All of them know they can. And he plays on that, honey. Hear me? He know I'm gonna give him anything in the world. You know. And then my husband like, you know, you gotta stop doing that. Those kids grown. You know, and I, you know, just hush. Just hush. Leave me my babies alone. You know what I'm saying? But he be right sometimes. But men are just, I don't know. It's not that they lack nurturing. They so, well, some of them, I'm say my husband. I'm gonna talk about mine. He's so strong. Like I be like, Jesus, he's so strong and like he can stand on business. But the thing about it is, no, I'm gonna stay a little bit. He can stand on business when it comes to them boys, but when it comes to them girls, they can get anything. He can't stand on business when it comes to them. He'll give them what they ask for, and then when they leave, he want to talk junk to me. Oh, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. You know, they got a man or they got a this and that. They shouldn't be having to ask me. Oh, tell them that. Don't come telling me. Tell him. I bet you won't. And he don't. And he won't. But when it comes to my boys, he can quickly. No. They got to stand on their own. Men got to. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't know why society is built to think that men don't deserve nurturing. Even from a young age, it's wrong for boys to cry. If they cry, you want to punch them in the chest or you want to do something to toughen up. You don't supposed to cry. Man ain't supposed to cry. And, you know, they don't even nurture boys anymore. They make them feel like I say, even from a young age, from a baby, they make them feel like they're not supposed to show emotion. And then you wonder why they grow up and be so angry. I'm not that parent. I always been very nurturing to my sons. And I don't too much care about how nobody feel about it. I always nurture them. And people call it baby and call it what you want. You got to understand a lot of these mean men, they come from being unnurtured boys. Boys that was expected to be strong in situations where they should have just been allowed to be a kid. They should have been allowed to just cry. They should have been allowed to just ask for a hug, come lay in the bed with you. Like they human too. But again, it's a societal thing. Everybody, I don't want my son to be a, you know. But you can't beat that out of him. If it's in him, it's gonna be in him. So that ain't no excuse not to love him the same way you would love your daughters. You love them the same. You give them the same love all around. You can prepare your son to one day lead a family. I do think that's important, but that doesn't require all the toughness all the time and making them feel like any sign of emotion makes them weak. Because that's just not the case. And like I say, then you create these adults that's just angry. These men that don't know how to compromise. These men that feel like it's what I say go. You create these narcissistic men. You create those men that feel like everything that they say is right. I trained all my life to be the leader. I didn't train to be submissive. I wasn't trained to bow down to no woman. I wasn't trained to listen to no woman. And that's what it is. But, it's the same thing. It's kind of the same, but not, it's kind of different. The same thing with entitlement. They just feel like they're entitled to everything and they don't supposed to give nothing. Or if they give something, they want to give you the bare minimum. You, my mama, you supposed to do this. You supposed to do that. They can be belligerent. They feel like they can be disrespectful. They can act grown. And as a parent, you don't supposed to do nothing. Then you lay your hands on them now. They've gotten the word that you can, contact the law. So they starting to use that. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was coming up, because eventually with my mom and her abuse, I started to run away. But the crazy thing about it is every time they would take me to foster care, I would always run right back to her. And it was more running back to my brothers because they were there. And so they eventually the judge just got tired of me running. They said every time you turn around, you put her in a home. By the time you go to sleep at night, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear? Okay. By the time you go to sleep at night, she gone. So he said, you know what we gonna do? He had my mom in the courtroom and he said, you touch her again, the way that you've been beating her. Because the last time that before this happened, what I had did, I ran to my school. And the state that I was in, they called DSS or whatever, and they came and got me. And so again, once they took me to the foster care again, I ran. Because that's what I say about sometimes. That's why I don't like people that mistreat their children because of this. Them children don't see no wrong in you. Like, they love you through your words. They love you when you at your worst. They don't see no wrong in mama. You've seen a lot of kids that know their mamas and daddies out here on drugs or whatever, but when you look at them or you talk to them, they don't see no wrong. So the judge told her, she said, no, it was a woman. She said, every time we put in foster care, she runs. I don't know why she keep running back to you, because of the abuse you inflict on her. I don't know what makes her keep running back to you, but that little girl loves you. She said, you put your hands on her again, I'm going to do everything I can to put you under the jailhouse. And you know what my mama's response was? If I can't beat her, y'all can keep her. That's what she told him. And the judge told her, you ain't going to get off that easy. I said what I said. Don't put your hands on her. No more. But that'll always play in my head like, wow. Wow. Like, that was your response? That's what you had to say? Like, what do you really get out of abusing me? What do you get out of that? Like, what does that do for you? Because once you're done, your husband's still the same person he was. He's still going to cheat. He's still going to do everything, all the things that have zero to do with me and all to do with him. So why do you feel like me and my brothers got to carry the backlash of your pain that we didn't cause? Whereas me, as an adult, I'm totally different. When I'm in pain, I cling more to my children. They're the last people in this world I would think about hurting. So I can't relate, baby, at all. I can't relate to where her mind was or why she did it. But you know what? Like I said, through it all, I still loved her. And to this day, I still cry about it. I wish I had her. Through a lot of things in my life, through a lot of situations. A lot of times I needed my mama, okay? Even now, a lot of times I need my mama. I want my mom. I want to talk to her. I want to see if we had some miscommunication and maybe I didn't understand what was going on. I be needing my mama, okay? Even at my old age, I be needing my mama. I cry out for my mama sometimes. I be needing her. So this little boy, I just can't understand where his head was at. Like, it just makes you wonder. And now they're going to charge him as an adult. But what really, even though it was a heinous crime now, y'all, I'm going to do more research, but charging him as an adult, does this mean they would try to really send a 10-year-old to a, you know what? No, it may not mean that. Maybe it means he would stay in juvenile, and then once he get grown to a certain age, they would send him to adult prison. I'm hoping that's what that means. But it's just like, what you have to think, what has this world really come to? Where a 10-year-old would feel so entitled to something so materialistic that he would think it's okay to kill my mama because she said no. That's a big thing. That these kids would be so invested in materialistic stuff. Like, that's a big thing. That's sad. And it's like I said, it's a big thing. Like, what is wrong with you, sir? It ain't that deep. And what I'm thinking, that lady probably was gonna get that baby that thing for Christmas or something. Like, what is wrong? What is in you? Like, that's why I say that kids can be one way in your face and a totally different person outside of your home. You can have the sweetest baby in your home, and when they go outside, they could be Lucifer himself. Okay. And you never know, because you are never introduced to that person that the outside world sees. Because again, kids are very good at being vindictive and deceitful. But Lord, my heart goes out. The stuff that we've seen in the last couple of weeks have just been heartbreaking. It's been hard, from Shanquilla to this little boy to just so much stuff going in the world. Kanye still saying crazy stuff. Like, I'm just watching this world like, wow. Like, what's next? Like, Jesus. Like, waiting for the next ball to drop. Like, what is wrong with people, child? Honey, they done gone fool out here. Just loco. I just don't get it. But yeah, I just think, like I told my church, I'm gonna pull back a little bit, baby. Cause ain't no way. Child, I ain't know nobody head could work like that, baby. You get so, you feel that entitled. But like I said, entitled children, like I said, I can see with some of my adult children, it actually turns into ungrateful adults, because they don't feel like they deserve anything different than what they were afforded coming up. But they don't think about, they miss the part of working hard to get it for yourself. What you get coming up is, you're not adding anything to. Your parents is getting that. That's off of their back. What make you think what's coming off somebody else's back you are entitled to? I don't care who you are, how old you are. You be grateful for what's given to you, because nobody ain't entitled to do a doggone thing. Because you see plenty of people have babies, drop them off in safe havens, give them to somebody else, which they shouldn't. But it's the decisions that they make. But be grateful for what your parents do for you, because they can do the bare minimum. You see a lot of women out here, they be dressed shawl from head to toe, $300, $800 hair, $1,300 shoes, $2,500 bags, and you see they doggone churn. They got on Granimals that's dirty. With not saying nothing wrong with Granimals, baby, because I show racks up on those little short sets at Walmart when the summertime come for my little tunch, because they be cute, honey. I don't care about no name brand, baby. I put her on what's cute, baby. And I'm trying to tell you, baby, she be swagging. Go look at the beautiful underscore Kehlani, the beautiful underscore KELANIE on Instagram. Yes, baby, my baby swags, honey. She be in Shein. She wear polo. She wear what I think is cute, baby. It could be Walmart, whatever. But she slays, honey. One thing about all my kids, honey, their appearance mean everything to me, because they are a representation of me. Sometimes you may see me looking crazy, but you won't catch them 9 or them 6 grandbabies, baby. No, sorry. But what I'm saying is, still, with all that being said, I don't want none of them to feel entitled to that. Understand, I can do the bare minimum, sweetheart. Like that little boy, sweetheart. The heck wrong with you? Get in the gala, sweetheart. See, He's trying to lost that dog on mine. But I'll be back a little later, honey. Let's go. I see my girl on. So I'll be back a little later, girl. And guys, until then, toodaloo, doop, doop.